Okay, think about this. There's this moment, right? It happens to pretty much everyone who's raising a kid or maybe mentoring one. The child is just completely overwhelmed. Maybe they're having a full meltdown. Maybe they've totally shut down. Or maybe, they've just caused some kind of chaos. What's the first thing we do? That gut reaction, especially when we're
Oh, it's
stressed.
the questions. Always the questions.
Exactly. The interrogation starts. What happened here? Why on earth did you do that? Are you okay? We just rapid fire these
Like we're
questions.
cross-examining them.
Yeah. And what happens almost every single time? Silence. Or they get defensive. Or honestly, just more tears.
Mm-hmm. It just creates this power struggle, doesn't it? Instead
Hun.
of actually connecting. It happens nearly every time. So our mission today really is to dive deep into something different. It's a concept from therapy, actually, that can totally transform those really tough conversations. It's called reflective listening. We've pulled together some really key insights from counseling research, from parenting experts to show you why this works so much better than the questions, and crucially, how it helps you avoid that interrogation trap and, the practical steps, how you can actually start using it like today.
Okay, let's unpack that because I think this is where it gets tricky. Lots of people here listening and think, oh yeah, active listening, I do that.
Right.
But reflective listening, or RL as some call it,
Yeah,
it's different, isn't
Yeah.
it? Significantly different.
it really is.
Active listening is more like confirming you heard the words. Okay, I got what you said. But RL goes deeper. It's about confirming understanding and even validating the feeling. It's this specific kind of mirroring where you're trying to really grasp both the facts, the content, but also the emotion driving it. And then you reflect that back.
That's the core difference,
Yeah.
absolutely. It shifts you from just, processing the information to actually validating their whole internal experience.
It's like saying, here's what I think you're feeling, what you're really trying to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is this isn't some new parenting fad. RL's been around for decades. Its roots are in Carl Rogers' client-centered therapy,
Yeah.
and it's a huge part of things like motivational interviewing. So when you bring that same idea into the parent-child dynamic, well, it fundamentally changes things. You stop being the interrogator demanding answers, and you become this source of emotional safety instead.
And that emotional safety piece feels so critical because the second we launch into those questions, aren't we basically telling the child, my need for info right now is more important than how you feel?
Mm-hmm. That's often the message they get, yeah.
And the sources we looked at really hammer this home, relying heavily on why questions is almost guaranteed to make a child clam up or get defensive. It feels like an attack.
It does. It feels like judgment. And, when you look at the actual outcomes, reflective listening just produces better results, hands down. The research highlights, I think, 5 really big benefits that show why it's such a powerful tool. So first off, and maybe most importantly, it builds that emotional safety and trust. It really deepens it. When a child hears you actually say their feeling out loud without jumping to judgment, they get this sense of, okay, it's safe here. I can actually talk about the hard stuff.
Okay, but that feels a bit counterintuitive sometimes, doesn't it? Like if my kid comes home yelling, my teacher's so mean, my first instinct is probably, no, she's not mean. What did you do?
Right. The urge to correct or defend.
Yeah. So how does just reflecting back, like, wow, sounds like you're really furious at your teacher right now. How does that actually help? Isn't it just validating them being unfair or acting out?
That's a fantastic question. And it gets right to the core of RL. You're validating the feeling, not necessarily the behavior or the interpretation.
Ah, okay. Feeling, not behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The sources are really clear. Validation is not the same as agreement. You're not saying, yep, your teacher is mean. You're saying, I hear how furious you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, by validating the emotion, you create the space for the second big benefit. It helps the child clarify their own feelings. The reflection gives them a moment, some verbal space to sort of process their thoughts. It helps them find their own insight instead of us just jumping in with a solution or a moral lesson.
So they might hear their anger reflected and then realize.
Yeah, they might realize, maybe I'm not actually furious. Maybe I'm just really embarrassed because I didn't know the answer she asked.
Yeah.
It lets them recalibrate internally. Then third benefit, and this is super practical, it drastically cuts down on misunderstandings. If I reflect back what I think I heard you feeling or saying, you, the child, get an immediate chance to say, no, it's not quite it. Or, yeah, exactly. It stops us projecting our own stuff onto them.
That's huge, reducing assumptions, because when we assume, especially about emotions, things can escalate so fast.
Oh, absolutely.
If I assume my kid is mad, but really they're scared, my entire response is going to be off base, right?
Completely off base. Which leads nicely into the fourth benefit. It actually encourages emotional regulation. Think about it. When a child is drowning in big feelings, it's often just this big, confusing, overwhelming mess inside.
Yeah, just chaos.
Right. But hearing their internal state named out loud, clearly and calmly, it sounds like you're feeling really anxious because you don't know what's going to happen next. That actually gives structure to the chaos. It helps them organize it, which naturally helps them start to calm down. And then the fifth benefit, which ties it all together, it strengthens the relationship. It builds this closeness, this attunement that you just don't get when the dynamic is mostly about discipline or fact-finding.
Okay, so here's what I think is really interesting for the parent listening, for you. We often feel this immense pressure, right? This burden of having to immediately jump in and fix everything, solve every problem.
The fixer role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And reflective listening kind of takes that pressure off. It dramatically reduces that burden. You don't need the answer right away. Your first job is just to acknowledge the feeling.
That's a huge shift.
It really is. It sort of hands the ownership of figuring out the solution back over to the child, at least initially. And it frees you from always needing to be the instant problem solver.
That shift in your role as a parent is honestly transformative. But, and this is important, to get these benefits, you need to do it right. It's a skill. It takes precision.
Okay, so let's break down the how-to, the mechanics. The sources lay out about 7 steps. The first couple are really about setting the stage. Step 1, attend fully. This is non-negotiable. It means undivided attention. Put the phone down, turn towards your child, make eye contact. Your body language needs to scream, I am 100% here with you right now.
No multitasking.
None. Then, step 2, listen to both the words and the emotion. You got to be a bit of a detective here, looking for those nonverbal cues. Is their voice trembling? Are their shoulders slumped? What's the tone, the volume? You constantly have to ask yourself, okay, what's the feeling underneath these words?
Right. And that leads directly into the core skill. Step 3, reflect back. This is the actual mirroring part. You're making a statement, not asking a question, linking what you heard, the content, with the feeling you sensed. So a good reflection sounds something like, wow, it sounds like you're feeling really disappointed that Sarah canceled your plans. Or maybe you seem incredibly frustrated that you had to stop playing. Notice you're naming the feeling.
And right after that reflection comes step 4, which is so important but easy to skip. Check for accuracy. This is about humility,
That's
right?
absolutely crucial.
You immediately follow up with something simple like, is that right? Or did I get that? Because if you misread the emotion, maybe you said mad when they feel sad, this gives them a safe way to correct you.
And that correction itself actually builds trust. It shows you care about getting it right, not just being right.
Okay, so they say, yeah, that's right. What's next?
Step 5. This is where you might go deeper, but gently. If they seem open to it, you could try linking that surface feeling to maybe a deeper worry or need. Like if they confirmed feeling disappointed about the friend canceling, you might gently offer. So you feel really left out. Maybe you're worrying that you don't quite belong or that friends don't value you.
Oh, that's getting deep.
It is,
Yeah.
and that's why the key is gently. You have to let them lead. If they shut down or change the subject, you back off immediately. No pushing.
Okay. Then the last 2 steps seem to be about maintaining that safe space. Step 6, stay neutral and non-judgmental.
Huge.
The instant you slip an opinion in there, you sound frustrated, but you really shouldn't have waited to the last minute to do your homework. Boom. You've just destroyed the safety net.
Absolutely undermines all that work gone.
And finally, step 7, offer support, not pressure. You don't need to have the solution all mapped out. Sometimes just being present and tuned in is the support. A perfect way to wrap up might be, okay, I'm right here with you. We can think more about this together if you want to. It leaves the ball in their court.
Exactly. It's presence, not problem solving initially. Now, obviously, this isn't a tool for every single interaction.
Right. When is it most useful?
Reflective listening really shines in those highly emotional moments. When your child is upset, anxious, frustrated, sad, that's prime time. It's also fantastic after conflict. Once things have cooled down a bit, using RL can be amazing for repairing the connection.
But there are times to be careful, too. The sources mention a couple of key things. First, safety always comes first.
Always.
If there's a genuine physical danger, you don't reflect, you act immediately.
No question. Intervene first.
And second, you really need to tailor it. You can't use deep, complex reflections with a toddler, right? They won't get it. It'll just confuse them. You need simple, concrete words for little ones.
Absolutely. And related to that, there are some common pitfalls parents fall into that can really, torpedo the whole effort.
Like what? What trips people up?
Well, one big one is over-reflecting. If you start parroting back every little thing they say, it feels fake. It feels mechanical, even manipulative.
Ah, like you're just using a technique on them.
Exactly. So you need to be selective. Focus on reflecting the core feeling, the main point, not every single word.
Makes sense. What else?
Judgment creep. We talked about staying neutral, but it's easy for little judgments or opinions to sneak back in. That instantly erodes the safety.
Okay. And another one you mentioned earlier, the rescuing instinct?
Yes, jumping in too fast to fix the problem. As soon as you hear the feeling, you offer 3 solutions. The sources really warn against this because it robs the child of the chance to develop their own problem-solving muscles. They just learn to wait for you to fix it.
So you keep them dependent.
Right. And maybe one more, letting your own emotions hijack the conversation. If you can't stay relatively calm yourself, it's very hard to reflect effectively. Your frustration or anxiety bleeds through.
Okay. So managing yourself is key too. And you mentioned tailoring it. How does this look different with, say, a 5-year-old versus a 15-year-old?
Great question. It changes significantly.
Sure.
For toddlers and preschoolers, like you said, keep it super simple and concrete. You look sad because your tower fell down. Or, wow, you seem really mad that playtime is over. You're basically just helping them build that basic emotional vocabulary.
Labeling the feelings.
Exactly. For elementary-age kids, you can get a bit more complex. You start linking feelings to the social world, which is huge for them. It sounds like you felt really betrayed when Sarah told your secret. Or you seem worried about the test tomorrow. You're helping them navigate friendship, school pressures, but then you hit the tweens and teens, and honestly, it's a whole different ballgame.
How so?
Your reflections need to go deeper. You start linking their feelings to bigger things, their identity, their values, their worries about the future. It sounds like you're trying to figure out where you stand on this issue compared to your friends, and that feels really confusing.
So connecting it to their sense of self.
Yes. And crucially, with teens, you have to actively fight the urge to lecture. The second they sniff a lecture coming.
They shut down. Defense is up.
Instantly. Their need for autonomy just overrides everything. So the reflection has to be purely about understanding their internal experience, not slipping in your agenda.
Well, let's make this concrete. The sources had a good example with a teen conflict. The teenager snaps, right? Something like, ugh, you always criticize me in front of my friends.
Yep, classic scenario.
And the typical parent response is defensiveness, isn't it? I wasn't criticizing, I was just reminding you to take out the trash.
Exactly. Defend, explain, justify.
But if the parent uses reflective listening instead,
It changes everything. Instead of defending, the parent bypasses that and goes straight to validating the feeling. Wow, it sounds like you feel really judged and maybe embarrassed when I bring things up like that in front of your friends.
whoa, okay, that lands differently.
Totally different. The teen suddenly feels heard. Their internal the feeling of judgment and embarrassment is acknowledged first. That immediately lowers the temperature.
It de-escalates things.
Massively. And then you might be able to have a constructive conversation about, okay, how can we handle reminders differently? But the focus shifts from who was right or wrong about the criticism to the impact it had on the teen's feelings.
That makes so much sense. So pulling this all together,
Yeah.
what's the big picture here? Reflective listening, it seems, is this really potent communication tool. It's all about empathy, really, tuning in. And the payoff is huge. Less defensiveness, helping your child actually understand and manage their own, often really overwhelming emotions. And the advice is, start small. Don't try to overhaul everything overnight. Maybe practice during calm moments first, like in the car or at bedtime. And be patient, especially with older kids. If you suddenly switch from asking questions to reflecting feelings, they might be a bit suspicious at first.
That's very true. Give it time. And remember, the aim isn't perfection. You will get the reflection wrong sometimes.
So what do you do then?
Don't panic. If your child corrects you, no, I'm not disappointed. I'm actually furious. That's great information. Use it. You can just reflect in reverse, basically. Just say, okay, thanks for telling me. Furious. Wow. Okay, what is that like for you right now? And then just listen again. Let them lead. That empathic listening, even when you stumble, it lets the child vent, get clear in their own head, and figure things out. And that ultimately tells you what you need to know to actually help.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about how this helps the child. But the sources hinted at something else, a kind of long-term benefit that I found really fascinating. As kids get older, apparently you can actually start inviting them to reflect back to you when you're upset or frustrated.
Yes, modeling it and then inviting them to practice.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thought I want to leave you with this week. If we consistently use reflective listening, not just to manage meltdowns, but to actually teach our children how to accurately name and process emotions, theirs and others, how might encouraging them to practice that skill back on us fundamentally change their ability to handle conflict? And not just with us, but in all their relationships down the road. Could it be a key to building deeper empathy, something for you to chew on?